Hello and welcome to Algebra. Today we're going to look at multiplying binomials. So we're going to simplify each product, then we're going to write it in standard form. There's going to be two ways that we can do this. We can use a distributive property, sort of an advanced distributive property, or we can go through and use the FOIL method. Now, the distributive property, I like to call it the stretch. You're just going to stretch it out. We're also going to use the FOIL method. So let's look at both. First, I'm going to stretch it out. We're going to look at the distributive property in a little bit different way. I'm going to label the first binomial in blue and the second binomial in red. Now I'm just going to stretch this out. So the w plus 1, I'm going to stretch out w and then plus 1. And you remember with the distributive property you give 1 to each. So in this one we're going to give one of the red to each one of the blue. So w plus 12 goes on to the w and w plus 12 goes on to the 1. So now we're just going to use what we traditionally think of as the distributive property. W times w is w squared. W times 12 is 12w. 1 times w is 1w. 1 times 12 is 12. And so we just multiply straight across. Now we do have to put this in standard form. In standard form, we wouldn't have two of these linear terms. Remember from what we've been doing, this is a quadratic term. Then we have the two linear terms and the constant. So the two linear terms, because it's to the first degree, to the first power, we do 12 plus 1 is 13w. So w squared plus 13w plus 12, and that would be my final answer. There's nothing that can be combined. There are no like terms. There are no terms of the same degree that could be combined together. There's also this idea of you have the descending degree. So degree 2 quadratic, then degree 1 linear, then degree 0 for the constant. So that is in standard form. But there's also another way that we can do this. The stretch, the distributive property, that's going to work for binomial times trinomial, 2 terms, 3 terms. That's going to work on monomial, trinomial. It's going to work on all sorts of different combinations. The FOIL is just for binomials. So keep that in mind. Only 2 terms times 2 terms. So with the FOIL, we're going to actually look at this. It's an acronym for first, outside, inside, and last. Hence FOIL. Now, it doesn't make a lot of sense the first time you do this. This takes a little bit of an investment. Once you spend the time to get used to it, you spend some practice on it, then it actually starts to come very, very easily. The problem is the stretch, the distributive property, looks easier to start with, but it's going to take you the same amount of time each time. So the first, let's color code these. All right, so first would be the 2 black ones. So these 2, they're the ones in the front, to the left. Now, the outside, let's put in blue. If you think of this as the center, then the blue is going to be far away from the center. So these 2 here. The inside, well, I'm going to put that in red. If you think of that center, they're very close to the center. And then we'll put the last in green. First and last are talking about left, right. Outside, inside are talking about outside, inside, very far away from the center and very close to the center. Okay, and so we're going to go through first, outside, inside, last. The first 2 are w times w. Plus the outside are w times 12. the inside, 1 times W, and the last 1 times 12. And so you can go ahead and combine these. This is W squared plus 12W plus 1W plus 12. And so that is W squared plus 13W plus 12. A few things that might be helpful. First of all, there's a little thing we're going to do with your hands. It kind of helps you understand, gives you a little bit of scaffolding. It's kind of a stupid version of how you can do this. But the other thing is, when you look through with these, you need to understand, why do we do 12W plus W is 13W? You need to think in terms of that. What we've done is we've taken the distributive property and worked it backwards. Normally, if you had, say, x onto 3 plus 2, you could distribute the x onto each one of these, or I guess it'd be more appropriate to say if you had 2 onto 3x plus 5, you'd say 2 times 3x, 2 times 5. So each one would get a 2. In this case, you're going to go backwards. You see that each one already has a w, so you pull that w out. That's called factoring. And we did that with the monomials that we did in the last lesson. So that's why when you have those like terms, w to the first, you can pull that out, add up just the coefficients in front, and then you can simplify. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to go back to our foil, and I want you to think in terms of, there's some hand movements you can do. I'm going to turn around, show you how you can do this. So the first thing you can do, your left hand is going to move very slowly. Your right hand is going to move very quickly. So you're going to do first, outside, inside, last. Once you get the hang of it, this one goes twice, left, left, right, right. This one goes left, right, left, right. And so as you look, it turns into really two sets. You have left and right. So we have first, outside, inside, last. First, outside, inside, last. And that's something that once you get the hang of, you can use to practice so that when you see two binomials, you can multiply them together very efficiently, very quickly.